and gentlemen. How are you doing? Thank you so much for coming back to see me again, or for the first time, here on Talk to the Hand Reviews, where I talk about stuff and I do reviews, and then I show you this, and then I put it on for you, and I don't know where I'm going with this song, but I'll turn the music down. Okay, now part of the reason that I got involved in doing fragrance videos is because I used to work in the cosmetics and fragrance industries in the 80s and 90s. Off and on, not the whole time, but a big chunk of my life was spent working in women's fragrance, men's fragrance, as a rotator rep for Guerlain and Oscar de la Renta, and also working in cosmetics, a couple different cosmetic companies that I worked for. And I regard this fragrance today as like the queen of fragrances, really. And I have so much respect and love for it. And you know, I'm sure you recognize it. It is Oscar de la Renta. And a few things there's so much I got to tell you about the fragrance, because I just wanted to pay my personal homage to this fragrance and the company, because I worked for them and I really loved them. I loved that company. I worked in promotions in Southern California area and a bunch of different stores, and it was like it was really something I wanted to do. I had worked prior to that, you know, behind the counter, and then I remember at this one store that I worked at in the Beverly Hills area, the girl came around who was the rotator rep at that store, and she was so nice. And one day I just pounced on her. I was like, could you please tell me how I could get a job working with Oscar de la Renta? You know, and she was so nice. She was like, yeah, absolutely, we're looking for someone now. And you know, so you never know, you just speak up, you just say your little thing, and sometimes they'll be like, no, it takes a long time, or no, we're not. But sometimes the answer is yes, absolutely, you should, I'll give you the, you know, the rep number, and you know, you can. Anyways, long story short, because it's not going to be a long story, it's not going to be a short story today, because I can't do it to my friend Oscar. So let's start off by spraying a little bit around. I've got some hand difficulties, so I can't spray that well, but oh my gosh. You know, one of the most important things I want to tell you about this fragrance is that this is a new bottle. I got it recently. And I used to have so much Oscar. Not only did I have so much Oscar, but I had all the body products. Did I have all? Maybe not. No, I think I had all the body products. And they had incredible body products. And unusual things. Like, it seems like they spent a little bit more effort than some other companies. Well, I mean, it was such a big seller. It was always had the big front cases, you know. You know Oscar de la Renta, you can't miss it. Any department store you go in, still, it's there somewhere, and usually in a front case. So anyways, it's just the ultimate feminine fragrance, I think. It's you know, they used to call it a white floral. Nowadays there's an Oscar Eau de Toilette mini that reminds me about my miniatures collection, which I open little by little on this channel, and I'm not quite halfway through. So these are Oscar de la Renta Parfum mini parfums, and this was the Oscar de la Renta mini Eau de Toilette, and these were gifts with purchase that we used to give away. Now, I don't think I ever opened these. I mean, I didn't need to, but somehow they've evaporated. And I want to show you, I want to open them and see, do they still smell like perfume, because they are perfume. They're not Eau de Toilette or Eau de Cologne. They are Parfum. But anyways, I don't want to go too far off of the track, because it's Oscar and I've got a lot to say. So one of the things about Oscar that was so special to me was, see, when I was young, my mom and dad got divorced when I was really, really young. And basically my mom raised me. And that's one of the reasons that we just didn't have money to spend. We didn't have a lot of money to buy expensive fragrances like Oscar de la Renta. It was my mom's favorite fragrance. And I did buy her a bottle of the Splash. It was like around $34. But after I worked for Oscar, I was given the whole line, and so I could give that to her. I gave her like the $100 size bottle, you know, powder, lotion, cream, everything. And so to me it was like, wow, because of that job, I was able to sort of elevate my fragrance experience. And also to do something really nice for my mom, which to me was a big deal. You know, my mom was really great, and I wanted to, it was great to do that for her. And Oscar de la Renta was a really fun company to work for. We did a lot of promotions, a lot of fun promotions. Oscar de la Renta, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oscar de la Renta, yeah. Get my little, anyways. So, Oscar de la Renta, this was their signature fragrance. This was, I believe, the first women's fragrance they ever came out with. And back in the day, they didn't have lots and lots of flankers. They didn't have, we had Oscar de la Renta for women, and we had Pour Lui for men, which is a really nice men's fragrance too. I would highly recommend that as well. I'd recommend all the Oscar products, to be honest with you. I think the last fragrance they came out with when I was still working for them was Volupté, which was their, it's very, it's a very fresh, sweet, more of a gourmand fragrance. I didn't love it as much as the other fragrances, but I still did love it. But as far as I'm concerned, you can't really beat original Oscar. And this new bottle, to me, not to everybody, I've read other people don't necessarily think that, but I think because I spent a larger amount of time with Oscar than maybe a lot of people who just wore Oscar. I mean, I was doused in it every day. I was showing it every day, you know, for like a year. And I want to tell you that I got this bottle like a few months ago, and it smells just like the old Oscar EDT, just like it. So I don't think you'll be disappointed if you get it. Now, I don't know, you never know. Like I said, I was reading and some people's reviews were saying it's not the same. Now, I did actually have a viewer who was looking for the Parfum, and she said that it's been discontinued, and I couldn't really find it anywhere. I couldn't find it available where you normally buy Oscar. So I don't know, maybe you cannot get that. I know I can't really find body products too much anymore, except I think sometimes they'll do a set with a lotion or something. But man, I'm not kidding. They had this amazing bath powder. It was called Délice de Bain, and it was a milk bath, and you'd scoop it, and it was like it was the most luxurious bath experience. And they had body powder, which people don't really use now, but back then we did. And they had an amazing body cream. They had a few body creams. One body cream was really thick. It was almost too thick, and it had perfume in it, which usually body creams versus lotions. Creams usually have Parfum oil, or that's the way they used to. So, and it's more emollient. It was so emollient. You had to take a little out, and then it was so thick, you had to add water to it to put it on your body, I thought. And then they had another creme that was like a lighter pink, and that was more normal for most people's body cream preference, including mine. I remember thinking, I don't know, because I would show it to people, you know, I would show it in the promotions, and it was always kind of thick, and it was a little bit, it didn't really smell as good as the rest of the Oscar products. But man, I had the dry oil spray. What an amazing product that was. Like, it smelled so fragrant, and I used to, you know, you use it and you put it all over your arms when you're wearing something, you know, that's sleeveless, and you put it here, and it just would shimmer. Not shimmer, it wasn't shimmering, but it was, it would make you just look that nice dewy look to your skin, and like when you were tan in the summer and all that, it was fantastic. So I should probably go on to some of the factual information besides just my emotional experience. I got lots of notes here. So, 1977, it was the first fragrance from the house. It won the 1978 Fifi Award. According to Fragrantica, it's an amber floral. We never called it an amber floral. back in the day, you couldn't get enough information. Even when you worked for the company, you'd just have like a fact sheet, or you'd go to what they would call a school and they would tell you everything about the fragrance, everything it contained. But that information was only given to you once. You know, it wasn't like nowadays where you can really educate yourself a lot more than you did. Like, the average fragrance lover knows more than I used to know about fragrances, and I worked in fragrance because it just wasn't as much information. But let's see. Okay, the nose was Jean-Louis Suzak. And he also, this I was so shocked, he also created Dior Dune, Dior Fahrenheit, YSL Opium, Belle Amie from Hermes, and most recently Credo from Nishane. Now there was another, the bottle designer was a gentleman named Serge Mansell. If I can find it, I'm going to attach a picture of me behind the counter at a promotions for Oscar. I found it recently and then I threw it back in a box, so I'm not sure if I'll find it, but if I do, I'll put it here. And also I have a giant Oscar factice that was in my storage unit. I have a picture of that as well. You know, a really big version of this little guy. So some people seem to think that Oscar can really be a shared fragrance, and I've never thought of it as a shared fragrance. But you know, I'm for you wearing what you want to wear. If you're a man and you want to wear the most feminine of women's fragrances, please do it, because you have to be true to yourself, not other people. And the same thing with women. If you're a woman and you prefer fragrances that are the most masculine fragrances out there, wear them, because that's you. That's what you want, and that's what you should do. You shouldn't be swayed by, you know, what other people mostly do. You know, that's so boring that you're just following everybody. And let's dance. Follow me and dance. Now, a couple of things about Oscar. He was born in Santo Domingo, in the Dominican Republic, and he was the youngest of 7 children, and all the children to him were girls. Wonder how that affects someone like who would be a future fashion designer. In 2017, Oscar was honored with a collection of collectible U.S. stamps. And I'll show a picture of that here too. It looks like it's mostly fabric, but hey, any homage is better than no homage. I was thinking, oh, is it going to be like pictures of dresses or perfumes? It's just, well, you'll see. I'll put it up here. And I thought that this was kind of an interesting thing that Oscar said. He said in 2006, he was at an event and he spoke, and he had cancer. I guess it was removed, because this is what he said. Yes, I had cancer. Right now, I am totally clean. The only realities in life are that you are born and then you die. We always think we're going to live forever. The dying aspect we will never accept. The one thing about having this kind of warning is how you appreciate every single day of life. Yeah, profound, right? So anyhow, need to dance around some more and shake off the tears. Shake it off. Oh man, I hope I'm not gonna have that cry face now for the rest of this video, but so Oscar de la Renta so what fragrances does it smell like? Okay, I know you want to know, what's it smell like? Especially if you're a younger person, maybe you've never smelled Oscar. You know, maybe people think that it's it's an older person's fragrance. I mean, it can be any age you want. I mean, you know, truthfully, so many of these fragrances came out before most of us alive today were born, like Chanel No. 5, and, you know, just so many fragrances have been around forever. Oscar hasn't been around out as long as Chanel No. 5, but yeah. So 217 people thought it smelled like Vanderbilt from Gloria Vanderbilt. I love Vanderbilt. It's one of those fragrances. It was an inexpensive fragrance, so it was one that, you know, my mom and I enjoyed when I was, you know, a teenager. And I still love it. I bought a bottle of it not long ago, and I'm going to review it as well. So I have to say, I agree. It's a similar style, but nothing smells like Oscar. Well, that's not true. I'll get to that. Okay, 164 people thought it smelled like Esprit Doscar, and Esprit Doscar, I did do a video on it, and I love it. I love Esprit Doscar. I was really surprised when I smelled it. I had to like sit and think about it, because you can smell the original Oscar in there if you think about the original Oscar when you're smelling it. If you think about the original Oscar, it's like you can tell that the homage, the ode is in there, but it does not smell the same. But it smells so complex, and the people that created it, there's like 3 really big perfumers. I felt they really wanted to create something special, and I think it's very special, Esprit Doscar. But I mean, it does smell like Oscar, but it doesn't smell like Oscar. Probably makes no sense. But 115 people felt it smelled like Guerlain Lheur Bleu. And I worked for Guerlain after I worked for Oscar. And I love Lheur Bleu. I did a video on it. It does smell a little like Oscar, but it does not really smell like Oscar. It's not. If you like it, you'll like. If you like Oscar, you like Lheur Bleu, and vice versa, most likely. But I wouldn't say it smelled like it. And then 31 people felt it smelled like a fragrance called Red Moscow from the New Dawn. Red Moscow from the New Dawn. I don't know that one. Love to try it. And then 16 people thought it smelled like Charles of the Ritz. I remember Charles of the Ritz only very, I don't remember remembering that much about it, but it was, I remember like I worked way on this one counter space, and then we had a Charles of the Ritz counter way on the other side of the cosmetics department. So, you know, I didn't always run around that far, like to go, I didn't spend that much time down there. So I don't remember what I thought of it. But I want to tell you that I think there is a fragrance that smells a lot like it. It is called Pheremone by Marilyn Miglin. Pheremone by Marilyn Miglin. It doesn't sound like it would smell like Oscar de la Renta. It sounds forcefully pheromonic. Pheromonic, that's probably not a word, but it smells like kind of like Oscar to me. And my mother also loved that one, so I feel like my mom was a gauge for, but she thought it smelled like Oscar too. So that's what I think. And then also too, Raffiné by Ubigant is another classic fragrance that I used to sell and that I have and I did a video on as well. Raffiné by Ubigant. It's similar style. It doesn't smell as much like Oscar as Pheromone does, but it is a similar style. And then also too, there's another classic fragrance I cannot find anymore. It was like one of the first fragrances created by Coty, and it was called Coty's Lheur. Coty's Lheur, and it was one that my mom owned. One of the first fragrances I remember my mom wearing when I was little, and also Chanel No. 5 was another one. So Chanel No. 5 doesn't smell like Oscar. I'm just saying it's one that I remember my mom liked. So I'm going to open up one of these minis and see if it still smells like Parfum. I think it should, because a lot of the these old Parfums from the 80s and 90s that I still have, they do smell good still. They smell just like they used to. The Eau de Toilette's not so much. Oh, I opened it. It wasn't hard to open. Does that mean the seal wasn't very good? Okay. I use Q-tips. Probably shouldn't, but better than nothing. Okay, that just smells like old perfume. Okay, try it on. Oh, Oscar! Yeah, it still smells great. Still smells great. So, see, maybe you can find the Parfum, the little Parfums. Maybe you can find them on the eBay or something. I don't know. Like I said, a viewer told me, and thank you very much, Elaine Remains, for that information. She said she couldn't find the Parfum. So maybe it's been discontinued. I don't know, but my mini still smells great. Wow. I'll tell you, I'm shocked at how these old fragrances that I never opened, that are like from the 80s and 90s, still smell good. The parfums, some of the eau de toilettes, some of the colognes, but mostly parfums. So I feel like, gosh, you really could buy an ancient perfume and you could expect it to kind of smell. Now, I don't know. You never know for sure. Wow. Oh, you're here. Let's do this now. Okay, this is the EDT. This little EDT. We'll see if he passes the test as well. I got it off. Hard for me with my hands. I got weird hand stuff going on. But anyways, it's the EDT. Let's see what we have. I'm not sure. It doesn't smell bad. I mean, you could still wear it if you wanted to. No, it doesn't quite smell as nice though. It smells okay, but it doesn't really smell as nice as the Parfum, my ancient eau de toilette. So anyways, there's that information there. Old eau de toilette perhaps will not smell so good. I can't get it back on. Back. Good old Oscar de la Renta. Not gone. Not gone. Oh, Oscar. Oscar! Okay, and I have one more little bit. Who are celebrities that have worn this fragrance? Hillary Clinton, Jamie Lee Curtis, Princess Margaret, Sharon Stone, Kylie Bax, and Martine McHutchison. So my lovely ladies and handsome gents, I thank you so much for joining me for my video about Oscar de la Renta, my dear old friend, for so many reasons. Oh, and this blouse, I wore it because it kind of matched, I don't know, the Oscar aesthetic. And this is a really vintage blouse that belonged to my mom from, like, I don't know, probably the 1950s. You know, my mother would have been 100 years old if she were still alive. She had me at an older age. I mean, I'm not young, but I'm not as old as most people who have 100-year-old parents. She did pass away quite a while ago, but she would have been 100 years old. And I don't know, I think it's just kind of worth stating. So anyways, thank you so much for joining me again. And if you like this kind of content, please feel free to subscribe or give this video a like. I do appreciate it, and I appreciate that you're here. And I look forward to seeing you next time. We'll dance each other out. Don't forget to dance! And wear some Oscar while you do. You know, you'll smell good.